morning, viewers, from wherever you're watching us from. It's always good to be back. We are live from our studios on Caraba Avenue, and this is QTV This Morning program. From wherever you're watching us, it's always very, very good to be back on the studios to share it with Mr. Ka and Mr. Mboje. mbokk yi ñu leen di nuyu di leen dalalaat fii si beneen édition yi This Morning programme fu waaye munte nekk rek si réew mi ak si bitim réew ñu leen naa jaajëfal bu baax a baax si ànd bi ak safoo bi ngeen di ànda ñun saa su ne rek si suñu ay programme xam ngeen ne rek comme ça nuñ ko dee baaxoo di defee saa su ne rek dañ dee am suñu African proverb bi ñu analyse ko mu nekk loo xam ne daal lu am solo la ndaxte dafa baax sometimes ñu reflect ñu waxtaanee lii you know some things that are loo xam ne daal mu ngi happen si society bi suñ newspaper review bi tamit mu fi dañ dee waxtaanee xew-xewi jamono di xew-xewi Gambie ak tamit si bitim réew ñu am tamit suñ ay guest yu am solo di waxtaanee loo xam ne daal lu am solo la so fu waay munte nekk rek ñu leen na dalalaat fii si beneen edition yi This Morning program just to say that it's the 3rd of July 2024 and it's self-care month and you know it's good that you care for yourself, physical activity, running, jogging, dancing, doing all sort of things just to take care of yourself because mental health is very, very important and we all ought to take care of our own, you know, mental health. No one is going to take care of your mental health for you. So let us all try in our little ways to, you know, do some physical activities, you know, to stay healthy, to stay happy. So I am sharing the platform with Mr. Mboj, my co-host, and Mr. Ka, our newspaper review guest. So good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Julia. I'm surprised all of you the first said, wait.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me on the platform once again. It's my pleasure to always share the platform with you and Mboj. I live here always, you know, knowing more than I can meet. So it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Ka. Mr. Mboje?
Yes.
I've missed you.
Nice one. Yes, we haven't co-hosted, have we, for a while?
You were rocking here with Jennifer yesterday, and I was enjoying you guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I'm good. Yeah, nice to be here. You know, I have fun. I enjoy, you know, the little banter that goes on, and sometimes serious, you know, interviews, discussions. So you have all sorts. It's a cocktail, isn't it?
Absolutely. So comme nu ma leen ko diggee rek si njëlbeen bi dañoo am the first segment bu ñoo am si This Morning programme bi moo nekk suñ African proverb bi. So I will just give Mr. Mboj the honor to read our African proverb. Perhaps start with the interpretation.
That's for the guests to do. I'll just read.
You study down.
That's it. A single bracelet does not jingle.
Mooy benn lam du keleng.
Waaw
Benn lam du keleng.
Noise cannot happen when there is no counter noise. So there has to be action and reaction. So benn lam du keleng daal loolu la tekki and loolu is self-explanatory. I mean, you know, if you can argue, you just argue to yourself. But if there is no other one to engage you, so it means that, you know, when you do things, there has to be something else, you know, that can make it happen together. So yeah.
Mbooloo mooy doole. Mbooloo mooy doole mu nekk lu am solo. Benn bracelet will not jingle, which is very true. Just one individual will not make that much impact, you know, in life. So
nga jàpp sa
njàmbur rek.
You don't say thing, then it doesn't make noise. You just allow a fool, give a fool a rope to hang him or herself. So don't get involved in trivialities and then push the thing. So just allow it to happen and then be.
Exactly.
That's it.
And there is a saying that if you want to go far, go alone. But if you want to go fast, go with people. So I think that's very, very important.
If you want to go far, go with.
Yes.
Is it the other way around?
Yeah, go with people. If you want to go fast, go with people. So I think it's very, very important. You alone, you will achieve something, but it will take time. Maybe it might not even be visible. But if you have people around, collectively, we can be able to achieve things faster and quicker. That is if we are all determined to really make things work. So that is why it's very, very important. Unity is strength in anything, you know, that we do. So if you have that collective figure in whatever we do, it's very, very important. One single person will not be able to do an impact. For instance, if you say, okay, don't litter here, and it's just Mr. Ka who is not littering, and you have all other people littering around, at the end of the day, Mr. Ka's impact will be so little, because the number of people who are littering outweighed Mr. Ka's good deed. So that is why it's very, very important in whatever we do to have that one collective aim and objective to be able to achieve the much needed goal.
That's it. My preferred interpretation is really the one that you gave.
Okay.
Absolutely. Where I can just avoid all sorts of temptations out there, and sort of be strong in what I believe, and not to be too emotional. Maybe I think that's the key. You know, sort of trying to reach a kind of nirvana where the emotional stuff, I'll listen. It might hurt, but it doesn't matter. Don't make noise. I hate noise.
It's difficult to
so
be alone.
That
You know that.
No, you are not alone. No? It's just a matter of understanding the emotion of things, but you don't let that rattle you too much.
Yeah.
that sort of thing. It's a kind of discipline. I'm still working on it because sometimes you want to react.
Yeah.
But a teacher once said,
you are tempted.
Count to 10. Then you close your eyes and start counting to 10 to count. That's it, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I like that interpretation where you're trying to grow up as a person emotionally, not falling for certain easy, cheap shots, emotional stuff. Then you will lessen the noise.
Yeah, that's important.
At the very least.
Like in politics, they say if you cannot beat the system, join them. So
no,
join them.
There should be more idealism. You are in there to change it. If I'm going to join them, I don't know, is it worth it? I don't know. Well, if you are in there to enrich yourself, I suppose it is. But if you are in there for public service, politics for public service, oh, that's a different ball game. You wouldn't do that. You want to change it. You don't want to join
That's a grey area, trust me.
What is grey about it? One would have thought. Let's ask our guest.
It's a grey area. We've seen people, who are saying that, I won't join this, I am that, I'm alone. But at the end of the day, they join the system. It's common in politics.
I guess so. It depends on how grounded you are ideologically and, you know, with values and all that, because people define themselves by their values and the characters they have. So some people would rather die with certain values than never join the mainstream, be eccentric, and then do their own thing.
Assertive, you have to be firm, you have to believe in yourself.
Some can also come on board to help and lift the load and make things happen. So there are two approaches to it. Either you want to do it in a positive way, genuinely, sincerely, come on board to help lift the burden, lift the load together and make it lighter, or you stand outside, be an agitator, and then, you know, be throwing stones, doing things. So it depends on what and how you engage and what you're doing and your intentions.
Exactly.
That's it. And it is significant that we get that subtle understanding. Otherwise, we become cynical about politics. And then we are done, because it is politics that we need to really resolve our issues as social issues. So, but when everybody's like, oh, these politicians, they're all the same. Oh, politics is dirty, I will never go into it. That sort of thing, that cynicism, I'm not sure how helpful cynicism is when we are doing politics. So I want to move away from that and still retain the ideal. I'm not idealistic, let's get a difference, but at least the ideal of what politics can do, and in history we've seen it.
Absolutely. So like I mentioned earlier, it's about self-care month, and according to the World Health Organization, about 80% of young people around the world don't, you know, meet the recommended levels of physical activity, which is really a huge number. 80% of young people around the world don't meet the recommended levels of physical activity. Something is definitely
technology happened.
That's what I was going to say. But also, it's not just exercise. Reduction of sugar intake, salt intake, you know, consumption of, you know, drugs and all these things. You can look at all those aspects in terms of taking care of yourself. Even giving up smoking cigarettes, we might encourage Mr. Mboj to do that, you know, so you don't smoke for a whole month to give your lungs a chance to recover and then continue. But there are aspects that you have to do, like being active is one of them, because obesity is a killer. You know, it destroys you, and you can only become obese because you consume a lot of food and you don't do any exercises. One that does not, I'm guilty of not doing a lot of exercises, but I presume I'm a little bit active, but I have to start looking into cutting down sugar and salt intake, because I like Maggi and Jumbo. If anything's going to kill me, I think those are my weaknesses.
Really?
Yes.
I don't like Jumbo for some reason.
Yeah, people are different.
I barely put, even if I put, it's just half of the cube or just full. I don't like it that much, really. I think
I cannot do without it. It's my weakness.
Wow.
So I have to cut those things and salt, sugar, and
really, you should.
And then exercise more.
But it's worrying to know that you know, these people, they are young people. 80% of young people don't meet the recommended levels of physical activity. I mean, something is definitely wrong with us. And I will start with me. I've been procrastinating like for far too long. Okay, I'll be hitting the gym. I'll be doing this. I'll be doing that. But you know, I'm still here.
Yeah, the TikTok generation. You just sit on the TV or looking at the phone or on your laptop, desktop. There are things that pin you down. The technology is there, like Mboj said, and you sit there for hours just TikToking or Facebooking, and we are all guilty of it. Or sit on the laptop, you know, or, you know, so those are the things. When we were younger, we have a lot of extracurricular activities. You have to go out running, jumping, girls playing akara, playing rounders here. I don't know if they still do those things, doing padinyadi, you know, and all those type of games.
I hardly see young girls doing that now.
And then you have the boys playing football, running around, doing all different type of activities, climbing up trees. I used to climb all the trees in Haddington, you know, all these coconut trees. So we were a very active generation in terms of extracurricular activities. But now it doesn't happen, and that is the reason why we have issues of obesity and a lot of, and also mental health, like you said earlier on, it does impact on that as well. So because if you are active, it does allay or alleviate that type of situation that makes you lethargic and stay back at home and not doing much.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's important.
For me, afterwards, what I saw people doing, especially in England, was that certain parents would control their kids, the amount of time you're going to spend on technology. They switch off. They make sure that you go and do the sport. This is where parenting comes in when you're kids. Absolutely.
And bicycling as well. Cycling is becoming very trendy in the West now. If you go, like the last time I went to London, I realized bicycles for free. You can just ride them on up to the next 2 junctions and leave them there for somebody else. So they're encouraging people. And they design the roads to have bicycle lanes. You know, so they discourage people from getting into cars, because otherwise all your activity will be inside a car, from home to work, from work to home. So you hardly use your legs to do any activity, and that is really bad. And
even walking, I think people underrate that, but it's a very important physical activity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you see, like less than a kilometer to your, from your workplace to your house, and you decided to take a vehicle, people like me, instead of walking. So I think we should try more of physical activities, you know, dancing. Even if you close yourself inside and then be dancing, bang a sweat, you know, it's good for your health rather than just not doing anything.
Yeah, I think we have to invite some health, you know, just to talk about these things, especially with regard to the month.
Exactly, So it's from the 24th.
What's the name of the month again? What do you call it?
Self-care month.
Oh, that thing. You've got a good suggestion there for me to pick up
it
this
runs
thing
from the 24th of June to the 24th of July.
Mboj is taking our challenge, you know, to give up smoking for a whole month.
For a whole month.
And if it works, then you never know, you can extend it.
And what would you commit? What you said that, yes, you're going to start doing this and that. You're going
you
to
start walking from until wherever you get your vehicle. So you, in the morning, you don't stand and wait for the vehicle. So we'll be watching you.
Yes.
So you
I'll be walking
and
now.
Walk and then be waving to get a taxi wherever it picks you up. That's fine.
So I'll be walking more often. And Mr. Mboj promised to leave smoking. Quit
I'm
smoking.
telling you.
Like throughout this
Great.
month.
This
So
is
what is
on
your commitment?
television.
Guys, I'm
To stop
loving
Jumbo,
this.
he's gonna stop Jumbo and all the rest of it.
You will
Yeah.
stop Jumbo.
Yeah.
Okay, and sugar for the
No, I
whole
didn't
month.
say sugar. I'll cut down on sugar, but Jumbo I'll work on cooking.
So
You will
that's-
work on Jumbo.
So we invite everybody at home
So
to commit to something this
Commit
month.
to something, guys, for
Be
this
healthy.
month.
Healthy.
At least, yeah. Let us.
Self-care.
Exactly. It's our mental health. It's very, very important. I'm really loving this, guys. So viewers, if you're watching, comment right on the comment section what you're committing on for this month. It's a self-care month. It runs from the 24th of June to the 24th of July. So commit on something, either walking, dancing, running, juggling, you know, doing some swimming. Just do something. Quit
Mr.
something.
Ade cut
guys.
on the coffee,
So-
yeah, coffee.
Coffee, Mr. Ade, yes, coffee. And been
Mr.
drinking a
Tunkara.
lot of water. So, okay, let us move on to look at some of the papers we have here. We have the Standard and Foroya and the Point newspaper. So on the Foroya Point newspaper, GPA set to sign agreement with Alberak to invest in Banjul Port. Yesterday we had the story on our QTV nightly news. And you know, it's an expansion of the project. Now they will move the other one to Sanyang, Sanyang village, which I think it's timely, really.
I mean, the
To
building, you know,
decongest the one in Banjul.
we need that because we have Senegal is competing our port.
Exactly.
And it's about time. As a growing economy, naturally, you know, the port ought to be up to a certain standard in order to compete in the sub-region so that we can have vessels come and then offload. They don't stay long, so that also reduces the charges and other aspects and efficiency of the movement of goods and services. And that is very healthy and important in an economy. So I think anything that would help in terms of expansion, modernization, digitalization,
Sure.
I think they are welcomed
Yeah.
aspects in terms of the development and progress of the nation.
Yeah.
That's it, and you do even hear people say that one of the reasons why with commodities and goods prices are going up is because of the ports. You even have some people blaming the ports, you know, the delay, how much, whatever they need to pay, and then of course they have to recoup all of that from the consumers, the ordinary consumers. So obviously, let them
Exactly.
just hurry up.
So we'll invite the MD of Port Authority to come and
Yeah,
elaborate.
to
and tell us,
elaborate
you know,
more
so
on
that
that.
we can know the
really.
details.
Exactly.
Because the devil is in the details, then we can know how much it's costing and what they intend to expand, what areas are they looking
Exactly,
to change,
yeah.
and so on,
Really.
so forth. Yeah.
So I think that's important because even I think it has to do with the recent World Bank report that they published on the transport sector, which shows that there is a huge gaps exist in terms of connectivity, in terms of our river, in terms of our roads. There is a huge gap really which should be filled, and I think coming up with this initiative will really help, you know, in terms of our connectivity. I mean, River Gambia, it has a lot of advantages, but we are not really making the best use of, you know, some of the things that are in the river. It's just fishing that we use it for. But aside from that, what are we really doing to actually make the best use of this water? It's one of the most important natural resources that we have in the country. But really, if we are able to make the best use of River Gambia, I think we will be able to tap a lot from it. Yeah.
You know, what happened to the river is in the colonial times, trade was mainly done on the river. And that is why you had wharf towns. They were very popular and very important. They were trading centers, just as Albreda, such as places like
I think there was Walikunda, they were all
Walikunda,
of these
Basse, you know, and all these things. Bansang. These were places that you have huge vessels that used to go, you know, carrying passengers and goods. So the transport was mainly on the river because there were no roads. I mean, if you remember the roads going to Basse, it takes you 2 days to get to Basse. Just to cross over, traveling through Hilakunda and going to Bansang. And there was a hill that you have to climb that was cut. You know, this takes you almost 2 days to get to Basse. So the road transport was not that effective until very recently, you know, when they have to really sift, the whole thing sifted from the river to the road. So now you have the villages on the road, Mankamankunda, Bakadaji, and all these start thriving in the trade. That is how it shifted, and the wharf towns died because they don't exist anymore because of that. If you look at the wharf towns, you will see some old dilapidated derelict buildings that were constructed since colonial days because they were trading centers. And a lot of economic activities used to happen there. The trade, used to have all sorts, where you have groundnut being shipped and then transported to here. You have barges, coming from Banjul carrying. So it was a very interesting thing. I think it can be revived in somehow.
Yeah.
We had the Lady Chilel also, which was a passenger and main carrier that used to travel across from Banjul to Basse. Before that, you had other ones, and that was a big one also.
Big one.
So
yeah.
Absolutely. So you realize that that kind of economy is gone. So now with the new economy, how can we use it? So that's why when you say that, oh, we don't do this with the river, we're not using it. I said, actually, in our history, at some point we did.
Yeah.
Something happened along the way that sort of we stopped.
Yeah.
So let us revisit that and ask ourselves, how can we efficiently use it today?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just asking the right questions. Then
yeah.
possibly, with some imagination, you can come up with
it's
ideas,
possible, really.
To do things
it's not impossible, really. So let's move on to the Foroyaa newspaper. I saw an interesting headline. Town residents concerned about uncollected waste from gutters. I mean, it's one thing to collect
I've seen pile of sand already dug up from the gutters and then left there. I don't know. They have to really remove it as fast as possible, because once the rains come, then it goes back to clog the waterways. That's where the flooding, we call it inundation in Senegal. That's what's going to happen, and then that will impact businesses. It will impact people, inconvenience, flooding of homes. I think they have to do something about it now before we start complaining about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you realize that we talk about these things every year. It's as if there's no really structurally one cannot do much, so we just go with our ad hoc interventions. It's a very strange situation. Who would have thought
it has improved. I think they become more aware and conscious of it now, because I have seen a lot of proactive measures being taken in terms of, and it never used to happen. Before they just used to leave it, and then it clogs and then floats upon. But at least now they have dug all this sand, but the mounds of sand are settled along the road, so they have to collect all of it, and dump it somewhere, and that will help. And they're expecting more rains this year, so that makes it more challenging. So therefore, they really have to work fast.
Work fast, faster than normal. So I think it's important. For me, I always talk about the issue of sustainability in this country. I think people just come up with initiatives without having to really think about it thoroughly, having to go through it to know really what they want. Because in this kind of initiatives, I think a truck should have been there to actually collect, simultaneously. It should be a simultaneous thing rather than just removing it, leaving it there.
Maybe they're allowing it to dry, because sometimes when you remove it, maybe it's wet, so dry, then they collect. But the thing is, if they just leave it there, as if, they have dug it and then leave it to go back in, that would not be very smart.
The purpose of it would be defeated.
Absolutely.
And the community too, for some reason, I mean, we always tend to leave things to the central government, the local government, but at our own level, what are we doing really to help these things? What can we do? Okay, if they remove this from the gutters, as a community, what can we do really to remove it from there? Maybe to bring something, put it somewhere where it will not go back to the gutters. I mean, these are the things that we can take at the community level. We can't believe in everything at the central government level, because at the end of the day, when the rains come, it's going to be the communities who are going to be affected. It's not the ministers, it's not
Unfortunately, we are not community spirited.
That's the problem.
I don't see us organizing things in communal aspect and doing things together, but I think it's just a cultural thing. So we have to encourage it and develop it. You are right. We have individual responsibilities and duties as well. In as much as we pay our taxes and we expect certain rights, we also have responsibilities also.
Exactly.
So it's a two-way thing that,
For me, this is how I see it. With stuff like that, there are certain things that municipal governments can do, not the central government. That's not for the central government. Gutters.
That's for councils.
It's for the councils. So the best as a community member that I can do is really pay my rates. You see, wherever you need these community interventions, they will happen once in a while. It's not a system. It depends on really volunteering. They volunteer, you know what I mean? So that is not a system of taking care of these things. When I truly have a system in place, even when we are in the dry season, perhaps there's a monitoring scheme. How do we keep on shifting things, or how can we change? So when the rains come, there's really no emergency. We've been cleaning consistently. There's a structure in place. This is really what we're talking about. Without a structure in place, well, it just depends. You know what I mean? It just depends. How do you plan without a structure? I just don't get it, to be quite honest. That's really what the issue is. So we'll keep on talking about this every year. Next year, we will talk about it. I think, again, you have got to have a structure in place.
It's unfortunate. I mean, we should be accountable to ourselves first before being accountable to others. I think that's really what we're saying during President Barrow's visit to Bundung, where, you know, he said that he was disappointed, or he was not really satisfied with the, you know, roads construction. I think some of these things really, we should not wait for the authorities to come for us to really start doing the right thing. We should be doing it. If we are employed to do something, or we are elected to do something, we should do it without the watchful eye of another person to be monitoring us to do it, because that is what we are paid to do. So honestly, I think these things are just simple. They're just common things that we all ought to adopt, and then that's it. The country will move. I mean, Gambia, it's very small. We are now 2.5 million.
I'll add just a small caveat here. The will,
that's a
the good feeling, the good faith. That's one aspect. I have to come up with the right policies. Competence must be part of that. You don't build anything merely with good intentions.
But we know,
that
like, policies are there.
Be careful,
but
be
policies
careful,
are there. We've been saying it there.
Careful.
When it comes to policy-wise, we have the policy. We have what it takes, but whether people are following the policy, whether they are doing the right thing, that is another thing.
Just because I have a policy doesn't necessarily mean that it will work. In many ways, policies are so much like small businesses. You know, so many of them fail. Let us be careful. Good intentions do not give you results. Competence, ability to get things done, that is really what gives you results. I think we tend to focus so much on, oh, do they have the right intentions, or should they say this? No, I tend to focus on, are you competent? For me, that's
I
my
think
focus.
you are saying more or less
similar
The same thing,
but different branches.
You're talking about delivery.
Holding on to different branches.
You have been assigned a task, a responsibility. You are expected to deliver. Period. If you fail to deliver, then that is where you're talking about the competency is lacking.
Absolutely.
And the readiness to do your responsibility. So you should give way. They should start.
Absolutely.
So that is why they have to be accountability. When something goes wrong, somebody have to be held accountable. And therefore, people will know that if you are assigned a responsibility or a task, if you don't deliver, there are consequences. And that is what is missing in the link. There is no consequences to their actions. So therefore, people can be laid back and relax and do not do what they are supposed to do, and nothing will come out of it. But if you know there are attendant consequences to your inaction, then definitely, or your omissions, then definitely you'll have to deliver. As expected.
It's a symptom of that culture of impunity, as they say. Consequences. There must be consequences.
So finally, on the newspaper review, President Barrow praised Moroccan King's continued support to the Gambia. You know that recently the Ministry of Higher Education announced that 120 scholarships were awarded to Gambian schools. In the STEM fields. That's good. So it's not just the the University of the Gambia, government institutions, but also private institutions, which I think is very important. You know, going to the private sector, that government, public-private partnership, I think it's very important, really. And Gambia is really in the right direction as far as, achieving the public-private partnership is concerned.
Well, I see it in the context of just widening the net. I want to have the most brilliant people this country's got. It's about the country. It's not about public-private. It's about the country. So they want to get the most brilliant. It doesn't matter where you come from or what kind of school you go to. And that's what they want. And that's a fantastic thing, isn't it?
And in all honesty, there are lots of highly competent, highly capable Gambians. So they just have to widen the net and then look at the diaspora and other aspects of the Gambia and make sure that they get involved and engage in the development and let it not be partisan or let them not be too political as well. Because there are some people, because of their political mission and vision, it clouds their minds to come and contribute in a patriotic way. Sometimes you have to go beyond those things and then avail yourself to contribute.
So thank you very much, Mr. Carr. That is all we got time for this segment. We're hoping to see you tomorrow for another interesting edition of This Morning. So thank you very much for coming along, and thank you very much, Mr. Moje, for being an amazing co-host. Viewers, we will take a short commercial break. When we return, the program continues. So stay tuned.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fix internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled device. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply. QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for the perfect place to promote your product or place your advert? Look no further than QTV. We are the premier destination for businesses looking to connect with Gambian audiences and beyond. At QTV, we offer a variety of advertising solutions to suit your needs and budget. With our diverse range of programming, you can be sure that your ad will reach a broad and engaged audience. From our popular news broadcast to our exciting music and entertainment programming, QTV has something for everyone. QTV, the premier destination for advertising in the Gambia. Contact us today and let us help you reach your audience.
Looking for internet for your free videos, pictures, chats, work, and school projects? Think Free Night Browsing. QCell's Free Night Browsing lets you browse the internet for free. Oh yeah. Get a data SIM, recharge a minimum of $500 and enjoy free browsing after 24 hours from midnight to 6 a.m. every night for 30 days. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV This Morning program coming to you live from our studios, and I am Julden Jai. We are moving to the next segment, which is National Disaster Management Agency's rainy season preparedness, and I have Ngan Jeng here, who is the KMC Municipal Disaster Coordinator. Good morning, Mr. Jeng, and welcome to the program.
Morning. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're most welcome. So could you describe to us your job, what those disaster coordinators do?
Okay, thank you so very much. I think the word disaster coordinator simplifies everything. We are there to coordinate disasters within the municipality. Yeah, because as a municipal disaster coordinator, your work is to make sure that all the institutions that are within the municipality you work closely with them to see how best to coordinate the disaster activities that they are implementing in that particular municipality or region.
So currently, what are the are you coordinating?
Any activity that is related to disaster or that have something to do with disaster, we make sure that we sit and see how best to coordinate it along with that partner institution.
So currently, what are some of the disaster-related activities that you're coordinating?
Currently, we are partnering with so many institutions, more especially the Cardiff Municipal Council and the NRA, because prior to the rainy season, the National Disaster Management Agency have a consultation meeting both at the national and at the regional level, where we invited all the relevant partner institutions to tell them that we are now entering into the rainy season. We need to do A, B, and C. But then, especially for me at the municipal level, I have my office at the council. I've been working very closely with the Cardiff Municipal Council to see to it that all these drainage systems that are to be cleaned by the council are already clean. The illegal dump sites have been cleared, and also so many other activities as well. And even the NRA, we are partnering with them to make sure that the drainages that are along the highway are also being cleaned, just to allow the free flow of water whenever it rains.
Speaking of which,
disaster management. So I'm really trying to hone in on the actual activities sort of being done here. So it appears as if you come in after a disaster happens.
No, no.
That's essentially what you're there for. Is that it?
No, we don't come
because
in
you are
after
emphasizing on the disaster. You're there to manage disaster.
Yes.
But that means after it has happened.
Okay, maybe management, disaster management agency. But then for here, in this aspect, we are trying to prevent or to mitigate its impact when it happens. Because even all this drainage cleaning and clearing of illegal dumps that you are seeing is part of the mitigation aspect and the preparedness. Because when the drainage systems are blocked with rubbish, when it rains, the water will not flow, and it will end up diverting into people's compound. So you can see that the drainage cleaning is a way of mitigating measure. Clearing of illegal dumps is also another factor that we are doing. And even right now, the NDMA is partnering with the Cardiff Municipal Council to dig a reservoir at the Bakwate dump site. The council requested for the NDMA heavy equipment, that is the excavator, which is presently, as we are speaking, at the dump site to dig a water retention pond. Because last year it happens after the July 31st, 2 years back, after the July 31st heavy downpour of rain, this unhygienic water was coming out from the dump site to the community. So after the rainy season, the council says they don't want that to happen again, because there was a reservoir that was dug inside the dump site, but it was filled with rubbish. So this year, that is what we are redigging again to serve as a water retention pond, so that when it rains, the water will not enter into the community.
Speaking
and NDMA is not only doing it in KM, but I also learned that it has been done at Jabang in West Coast and also in CRR.
So speaking of drainage system, we have a story here that says town residents concerned about uncollected waste from the gutters. It's one thing to remove this waste from the gutters, but it's another to really collect it entirely, to remove it from there.
That is also right, because what you are saying is a point. As we are speaking, the NRA are engaged in this major highway drainage cleaning, and some of the rubbish that have been removed from the waste is yet to be collected. The reason why sometimes they late to intervene or late to collect it or to clean it is that, to be quite honest, it's not easy, but then we also need to change our attitudes. Our attitudes also count.
It's the reason why you're late to remove it from.
Some of the time, most of the time, our attitudes is the main reason, because if you clean the gutters around March, April, before it rains, it will be refilled again with rubbish. People will use it as a dumping ground. So that is why most of the time, for both council and NRA, they will wait until, let's say, 1 month prior to the rain, or even sometimes 3 weeks prior to the rain, then they start the cleaning. so that maybe whenever they are done with the cleaning and the collection, let's say it will collide with the rainfall. We will enter into the rainfall. Because even during the rainy season, we do experience such things like that. Sometimes we'll be going around, you'll see people when it is raining, they will take their bag of waste and give it to their children to go and throw it inside the gutter for the running water to take it along. Not knowing that whenever the rain stops, that's where that rubbish will also stop. So that is why sometimes we are always, or the council and the NRA is always late to clean those drains. Yeah.
But why is it, or why are you always late to collect the waste?
Now maybe sometimes it's the way they program it, because I learned that it is normally given to different contractors. So the contractors are sometimes faster than each other. Some will clean it today or will take it out from the gutter today. After 2 or 3 days, when the sand is a bit dry, then they will come and collect it. Some will tell you maybe the sand is still wet and it's very heavy to be collected right now. So I think that's the main problem. It depends on the contractors.
If you are removing it at a time during the rainy season, I mean, what do you expect at this time if you remove the waste from the gutters? Obviously, you can expect rain at any time.
At any time, you are right. But they have even started removing it. But yesterday when I was going home, I passed them around Fajikunda. They are on it. So hopefully, if it did not rain in the next 48 hours, they should be completing it.
I suppose the problem here for them, by starting early, imagine you start early, you clean everything, but again, before the rain comes, people will get it dirty again.
That's the
Maybe the attitude you were talking about. So they're really in this bind. They gotta wait.
That's a very big problem for us. Because even at the council, there are cleaners who normally clean the streets. You will see them early in the morning, they will be cleaning the highways. But whenever they are done around 9, before 12 midday, you will think that the highway was never clean.
Absolutely, I get that. Now, we're talking about the preparedness, right? So what would it mean for the community to be prepared? What are the boxes that you need to tick? Now, of course, I understand cleaning the gutters and all sorts of things. So what would you look for to say that, these people are prepared?
For the community, we do engage them. Because like this year, when the Department of Water Resources released the JAS report, the JAS is the July, August, September forecast report. Our office, with funding from the WACA project, have a consultation meeting with all the relevant partners to help popularize the JAS report and also disseminate it to the general public for them to be fully prepared. But for us at the municipal level, my office is working very closely with the various ward councillors to see what preparedness measures can they take at their own community level. Wherever it requires to place sandbags, we will support them and they will place it there. Wherever it requires to backfill some of the potholes and major highways with gravel, sometimes we do also support them by providing them with the truck, and they will get some gravel and backfill their community.
So as a disaster, okay, you want to come in there before?
Yes. What else I want to explore is how effective do you reckon that their interventions have been when we look at over the years, last year or year before, the kinds of disasters that we've been experiencing? How effective do you think you have been in assuaging, in mitigating some of the worst effects of these disasters that we've been experiencing?
Yeah, we have been trying, though not to that much expectation, but then looking at 2022, comparing it to last year and coming to this year, I think we are really mitigating the impact. We are looking at the number of households that were affected in 2022 is far more than what was affected last year.
What are the figures? Do we know them?
Yes, for 2022, the total number of households countrywide was around 7,841. 7,841 households that were affected.
Within KM alone?
No, the whole country.
The whole country.
Within KM, we recorded 1,892 households. But you will see that last year, the figure was less than that, because last year, countrywide, it was less than 5,000 households.
And that was because of you.
Not because of me, but
what I mean is
the agency. Yes, the institution.
So you're claiming credit for that.
I will not say it's only because of
Is that the
NDMA,
only
because
reason?
we
Of
are not
course.
doing it alone.
Exactly.
We are doing it with partner institutions, because I think all the councils have a stake there. Likewise, the National Road Authority. We always work with these three institutions, NDMA, NRA, and the councils. We always work together, because even this year, sometime in the first week of June, we had a meeting at the mayor's office, the head of my institution, the Lord Mayor and his people, and the deputy director of the National Road Authority. We were there to see how best to share responsibilities of who is supposed to do what, and in the event that let's say the council need NDMA's heavy equipment, what are the ways to take in order to get in those heavy equipment, just to see to read that DRR measures are taken within the municipality. Yeah.
So what are the disaster-related issues that we are to expect this year, and from which area specifically?
This year, according to the JAS report, if at all it is anything to go by, we're expecting flooding in some of the disaster-prone areas across the country, especially the western part. And if they say the western part, it means the greater Banjul area, from Banjul going down to West Coast, going to around Combo East. We're expecting flooding because the JAS report is saying that most likely in the western part we are going to have above normal rainfall.
Yeah.
Very likely it's going to be above normal or normal, with at least, let's say, 1,000 millimeters will be recorded.
So, you're preparing. What are the, of course, you know, the vulnerable, the most vulnerable areas. Any special scheme, perhaps, to deal with?
Yes, we are preparing, because this year, thank God, the agency also have new partners. That is the WACA project, the West Africa Coastal Area Resilient Project. And the WACA project is intervening in 9 communities.
And the pumps, they're giving pumps, aren't they?
Yes, 7 in KM and 2 in West Coast. And for KM, all the wards that are along the stream, that is the Bakote, Tipagare, London Corner, Dipakunda, Kotu Manjai, Bundung Bohol, and Latukunda Sabiji, and Latukunda Jama, they have all benefited in that WACA project. The project is also complementing council's effort, and this year they have helped both NDMA and council a lot, helping them in the sense that they have reduced the cost that the council normally used to spend in drainage cleaning, because the workers are the ones who handle all the drainage that are along the stream. They clean them by desilting them and removing all the waste from the gutters within those communities. And they did not only stop there, but then they also bought some water pumping machines. 34 water pumping machines are bought, 4 big ones and 30 medium-sized ones. The 4 big ones, 2 is going to be given to NDMA, 1 will be handed over to KMC, and the other one will be given to BAC, while the 30 pumps will be distributed within the 9 communities in West Coast and KM. So I think that's a very good preparation level, because last year my institution and even council, we bought some water pumping machines, and it do help a lot, but then they were not enough. As you all know, in KM we have 19 wards, when at that time we have less than even 10 water pumping machines. So councillors' demand was more than what we were able to afford. So some people have to wait. When there is a flooding in Ward X, the councillor requested it, I give it to him. Maybe before he will be even done with it, another councillor will want it. But this year, with the intervention of WACA, it have helped us a lot, because the little pumps that we were able to purchase last year, we are now going to use it to concentrate along this side, that is the Talinding, Ibo Town, and Fajikunda going down to Abuko. Because these other wards, they have all now received their water pumping machines from the WACA project.
So at the community level, what do you think the community should do really to help themselves as far as flooding is concerned? Because you mentioned that is one of the disaster-related issues that we are to expect this year, especially within the greater Banjul area.
Yes. For the community, we have been sensitizing them, because it's also very difficult to work with some of the communities, especially in KM, because most of the wards are in a hotspot or in a stream. So, and you see that there are certain places where people are residing. To be quite honest, they are non-residential places. And as a result of that, whether they like it or not, whenever it rains heavily, they end up getting flooded. So, but then we are working with them very closely with their councillors, just as I mentioned earlier, to see places that are need to be backfilled, we backfill them. If they need also sandbags in certain places, we do it. And most of the communities are also adhering to it, because even just yesterday, I was discussing with the VDC in Abuko. They were, you know, they were seeking for assistance from us to see how the Abusi Bridge can also be cleaned, because most of this running waters that passes through Abuko to Fajikunda, that is where it used to go through. So we are trying to see how best to help them. The community, I think they are also not relaxed. The only problem is where some people are settling. It's very difficult to help them, because whether they like it or not, when it rains heavily, you see water coming underneath from the ground, which is unavoidable. So that is our biggest challenge.
So in terms of response, how quick do you respond to disasters?
We respond based on what is available, but when it comes to the data collection, we normally make sure that whenever it happens, before the end of the 24 hours, the victims affected are assessed. But when it comes to now providing them with relief materials, that is where the problem comes in. Because NDMA did not have the financial muscle to have a ready-made response package in place. By right, if at all...
So as you speak, you don't have any response package? When
it comes to giving relief?
Yes.
No, right now we did not yet have it. That is why we always encourage partners to come to our doorstep, because NDMA cannot do it alone. Financially, we are not very strong. And disaster, it has no boundary. It's not just one institution's business. And when it comes, it doesn't know any political affiliation or any ethnic, gender, or whatsoever. That is why we encourage partners to come to our aid. Even when it comes to this assessment issue, I think just not long ago, the AFD fund got us some data collection tablets, which was one of our biggest challenges. Because we are also now trying to be digital, and we are using data collection tablets to collect data whenever disaster strikes. But even those tablets were not much. We just got very few tablets for the whole country. Yeah.
But here I wonder, so when disasters happen, really, what kind of response can NDMA provide? Because you said with the relief, because we know how important Red Cross has been in these things in the past few years. So what precisely is the NDMA response? What really you can do given your resources?
Now what we can do is when the disaster strikes, if at all the community or the household that is affected, it depends on what type of response does he or she needs. If at all it's in the side of equipment, we can provide it as soon as possible.
Equipment like what?
Let's say if he needs mobility to move away from the compound, we have it. If at all they need, let's say, an excavator to create waterway, we also have it. So when it comes to sometimes food package, that is where the delay comes in. Sometimes before we respond in terms of food, it's a challenge. But we are also working very closely with the Red Cross, because according to the NDMA Act, every regional and municipal disaster office, you should have a disaster management committee. And those committees at the municipal level, it is chaired by the mayor. At the regional level, it is chaired by the governor. And it entails various partner institutional reps that comprise, and Red Cross is part of that. As we are speaking here in KM, I am working very closely with the Red Cross branch officer, and I'm even sometimes using their volunteers in the wards to collect data. When disaster strikes, the councillor will call me, and I will inform one of the volunteers in that particular ward to collect the data.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jeng, for coming. But do you have finally a free toll number that people can call?
Yeah, we have a free line number that people can call if there is any disaster. I think just yesterday they were working on it because it has technical issues. They were working on it at the head office. It's a toll-free number. Yeah, so I think when it is done, the executive director will share it with you people.
Okay.
Yeah, so that you can also, this help us to disseminate it to the general public.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jeng, for coming. Viewers, we will take a short break. When we come. Okay, you want to?
I want to say something. One final word before I just say.
Okay, finally, in few seconds, please.
Yes, finally, because what I want to tell the general public is for them to adhere to the advices of the expert. Because the problem here is like when the JAS report is released, we all know that what it says is that we are expecting heavy flooding. But sometimes you go to the radio to conduct to conduct sensitization, to inform them what this report entails. Some people will tell you that, are you God? Who knows whether it's going to be heavy downpour or not. So sometimes they don't adhere to the experts' advice. That is very important. And also for other institutions to come to the aid of NDMA, because we cannot do it alone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jeng. Thank you. So we will go for a short commercial break. When we return, the program continues. We will engage Alaji A.F. Jallo, who is our URR regional correspondent, to talk to us about the rainy season in URR. We will be right back.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network. QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. That's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is QTV This Morning program, and we have our Fopul Alaji here in the studios. If I say Fopul Alaji, most of you know who is our Fopul Alaji. Alaji, and Alaji. Babukar Sise, welcome back.
Thank you, Julie.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, happy to be here as well.
Fopul Alaji. You know, before you...
It's interesting when she says Fopul Alaji. Yeah. I know someone that I went with this time, 27 times.
Absolutely.
27 what?
So how are you going to call him?
Absolutely. Exactly.
Interesting. So we have Alaji A.F. Jallo on the line, our URR regional correspondent, to talk to us about the rainy season in URR. Good morning, Alaji.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Fine, alhamdulillah. What's up in URR?
Yeah, thank you for having me this morning. URR is, the raining season has just kick-started. If you are aware, just a few weeks ago we registered our first rain, which was also reported. And as we speak, the farmers are in their various fields preparing their farmlands for this year's season's agricultural activity.
Like prepare,
Like,
what do you mean?
yeah.
Go into the details. What exactly are they doing?
Yeah, as of now, right now, plowing is ongoing in the fields. I've visited some fields in different parts of the region, and as everywhere, the tractors are plying. Those who have tractors and those who don't have tractors are using local means in plowing their fields. So specifically right now, plowing is ongoing. Some other areas have already started planting, putting their seeds. Day before yesterday, we registered our last rain, and obviously, any moment from now, it can even rain in Basse because as we speak, it's very cloudy right now. So farmers are really very happy. This year's season has started, and the cropping is ongoing.
So did they mention like any concerns with regard to this year's rainy season? Are there any concerns?
Yes, of course. Some farmers mention with regards to particularly those in the rice field, flooding has been a problem in URI because most of the time when there is heavy downpour of rain, we receive a lot of floods in these rice fields, and when the rice field is inundated with water, what happens? It mostly destroys the rice. So the farmers have raised this concern for support so that they can have canals or drainage system that can drain the water when the rice fields are inundated. Other concerns that we have also registered with the farmers, though we know the fertilizer, the price have been reduced, but still, because not everybody can afford that particular price, but they are still raising their voice for if people can come to their aid and so forth, because if you can look at the ground is gradually losing its nutrient. The farmers have been using this field for quite a long time now, so continuously using the same field, it would bring down it would diminish in nutrients. So that's what most of the farmers are complaining of as we speak. But if not that, there is high hope that the rain will be good, and if the rain is good, like it happened last year, we had bumper harvest, and farmers were very happy last year. So we hope to see the same thing this year.
Okay. So did you by any chance speak to the authorities there to know what level of preparedness really they are doing as far as the rainy season is concerned in URI?
Now, just of recent, the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Sabali, was on a tour of regional centers. I was opportune to meet him. In fact, I was with him on his tour in URI. He visited most of in fact, the areas he visited, these are project sites, roots project sites, and also other sites to see, to get first-hand information with regards to what's happening in the field. These concerns were raised by the farmers, and he has assured them of the government support in case of any eventualities happen. But also there are plans in place, according to him, if actually it is going to put in place. According to him, particularly the rice production area, where some of those the farms are at a swampy area, and whenever there is heavy flow, they will be able to build a drainage system so that it will flush the water out of the farmland so that the crop can grow productively.
Yes, you've mentioned the flooding, right? So I wonder,
yes.
Was there anything prepared? You've talked about maybe they might need to build canals and all this stuff. Have you seen anything being done about that? Because the risk of flooding this year is high, given that we're expecting more than average rainfall. But without these things, then it's a sure thing that you're going to have flooding.
Yes, as we speak, I have not yet seen any action done, to be honest. Most of the areas that are, apart from the certain project intervention sites in the rice fields where there's Sotoma and the others that who had canals before, even with that, they still need to be improved so that when there is flooding, it would not inundate the rice in the field. But apart from that, as we speak, I have not yet seen action in most of the fields that we are talking of, so that the farmers can really remedy or mitigate the situation of flooding when it comes to issues of flooding. Not yet on the ground.
Jesus, yes, that's quite fascinating. So, but how are the farmers themselves? How are they viewing all of these things? Earlier on, you mentioned something like they being hopeful. Give us a characterization of how they're taking it.
Sorry, can you come again?
But tell me, how are the farmers taking all this preparation, what government is doing, what fears they have? So how are they taking all of this in?
Well, the farmers are, most of them have been into the agricultural domain for quite, so they are, the moment the rain starts, they don't even wait for government, they don't wait for anybody, they don't wait for sponsors, they had to go, because this is what they use for their own survival. So if you follow, for the past years, we have been doing a lot of agricultural stories for government and other relevant partners to intervene. Though we understand government has stepped in trying to subsidize the fertilizer, because it's one of the most important components when it comes to production, because the soil has lost its nutrients. And the other aspect that the farmers are also fearful, because at times the rains are erratic. It could happen because we have received information it will be above the rainfall, but it could change. So, but all these things, it is the responsibility of the Department of Agriculture to advise the farmers, because they have their extension workers in all these areas, so that they will teach them the best practices, so that when such things happen, it will mitigate some of those problems that we are talking of.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alaji.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us those updates. That was Alaji A.F. Jallow, our URR regional correspondent, talking to us about the, rainy season in URR and, what authorities are doing there as far as it is concerned to mitigate some of the, disaster-related issues that are to be expected there. So, like I mentioned earlier, I introduced our Fopul Alaji, Baboucarr. Welcome back. I've really missed you. I miss disturbing you. Every year this Alaji will go and come back and he will not bring anything for us. This year you have to give me something.
Don't say that.
Okay.
He always brings something back.
What is that?
Something priceless.
What is that?
It's called the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit.
Just looking at him, I mean, absolutely. You cannot buy that. He doesn't have a price.
Thank you, Mboj.
You see how he is shining?
Thank you, Mboj, for being my lawyer. the truth is, the Yobal or the Selafando from Saudi Arabia is normally, if you don't bring dates, then it has to be Zamzam water, which I have brought for the whole office.
Absolutely.
And
I am yet to receive
No,
mine.
she wasn't here yesterday. So that's why I didn't know, isn't it?
Yep.
But definitely there is dates at the office.
I read the
and
news.
the dates I brought is actually the best one, the Prophet's choice, which is called Ajwan. That's what I brought. And I brought Zamzam.
Mashallah.
So any other thing, when you come to Abaya and all these prayer mats, they are not made in Saudi. They are from China. So
I can't wait to have my own share. So talk to us. How was the Hajj 2024?
Well, Hajj 2024 was a success for the Hajj operators, for the country as well, because we went in peace, we came in peace, and we are here. So it was really successful. I know last year Gambia we got an award. This year we didn't, but that doesn't mean that we didn't do well. We did well. So, but it was a huge success as well.
And overall, do we know the numbers? How many? Do we know the number of Gambians that went to the Hajj?
Yes, it has increased. During COVID it was reduced. Then after COVID it was again, to the normal size. Normally 2,000 pilgrims or 2,000 plus. A little bit like 2020 or something. But then the way they do it, like the Saudi operators, the Saudi authorities, they control the Hajj. It's an influx. A lot of people want to go and they have to control it in a sense to avoid problems happening, too much of overcrowding, probably stampedes as well. So they control the Hajj. In a sense, what they do is every country, they count every 1,000 Muslim is one visa. So, for example, if the Gambia
quota for every
quota
country,
system,
depending on the population.
Exactly. So Gambia is like well, we've been saying 2 million, 1 point something. But then, according to what I see, it's like it's pegged around 2 million as at now, and that means 2,000 people. You know, because every 1,000 is one visa. So that's how it is done. Yeah.
So in terms of the numbers, because we know that one pilgrim died, and the number is huge, number of people who really died, it's around 1,300 pilgrims who died, and you know, huge number of them is from Egypt. Talk to us about that.
Well,
what really happened?
It's the same thing. We heard that the overall is about 1,301, you know, and including one Gambian, unfortunately. But the Gambian pilgrim who died, I don't know her. I think it's a lady. We just had the news just as you had it, because even though we are there, because we went with different Hajj operators, so I was not with this person in the same group. But we also got the news while we are there that a pilgrim has died at the Jamarat, you know, where we, you know, pelt stones, you know, we throw stones at the Satan. You know, that's where the lady died. But we heard about it, and also I also read it, and I saw that the Hajj Commission has confirmed about the death of a Gambian pilgrim there.
I wonder when it happened, where were you? It will be quite interesting to get your own narrative, you know, whilst you were there and start hearing things. Where exactly were you?
Well, because the Jamarat is at Mina, and then that's the it's like a desert, and then all the Gambian pilgrims would be in one place. This year we were with Mali and another African country. We are all in the same area because they allocate areas for everybody. So we were with Mali and another country, which I don't remember now. So we were there. But then normally when we're going to throw these stones at the Jamarat, each country is given their time. Like they will say Gambia 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, Sierra Leone 5 o'clock in the evening. So they'll give times. So the whole Gambia would go together. But also, sometimes people will go on their own without waiting for the time. So I know I went with the Gambia pilgrims, you know, to the Jamarat, but it didn't happen in my presence. So for some reason, whether she was there at the time or she was not, is what I couldn't confirm. But I didn't see it happening in my presence. But the whole Gambia contingent went at once. But at some point, people go on their own. I've noticed that as well.
That.
You know, yeah.
So talk to us about the weather this year. I know it's quite hot this year, 51 point something degrees Celsius in Saudi.
Yes, the weather is very hot, and every year it's been like that. But I heard this year is over exceptional, you know. But normally it's very hot in Saudi Arabia. So in fact, what we read from the Saudi authorities is that most of these days are due to heat waves. You know, most of these days. Even the Gambian one who died, we heard, is about is from heat waves, but we are not sure because probably the travel agency she traveled with is the doctor who can confirm. We don't know whether they are having any underlying health conditions before she traveled, but also it could be heat waves because I know the sun is very hot and you have to drink a lot of water, you know, all the time, and have to use an umbrella probably. You know, for me, like you see people pouring cold water on their body, on their head to keep wet, you know. So that's what we had, especially Egypt, we had is due to heat waves. But also what we had is that most of the people who died are undocumented pilgrims. That is, people who go to do pilgrimage through other channels. Because, for example, I saw a Gambian lady, it's an old woman there. I was just going, this was at Muzdalifah, and somebody called me, it's a Nigerian guy, said, are you from Gambia? I said, he said, come. He said, there's an old lady here, you know, and she's lost. So I went there and I spoke to the lady, and she spoke to me in Mandinka, and I said, your name, so he told me, and said, I said, where are you from? I said, Gambia. I said, which company do you come? He said, no, International Kabrin Umrah time, Kabrin Sunkarokono. So what the family did was, they sent this lady there during Ramadan, because it's cheaper. Umrah will be like probably $150,000, $200,000, but Hajj will be $500,000 plus. So to save cost, they send their mom during Ramadan, and the mom but the plan was for her to stay after doing Umrah during Ramadan. Then she will do Hajj.
Yep.
You know, so that's what they did for the mom. But the mom was old, and the people she went with, they left her there. And so I told the lady, I said, let's go. So she came with me, and I put her in our group, and we started going. But later, because she's old, not fast enough. Later on, I didn't see her again. I think she's lost again. So things like that can cause problems, because if you are not documented, that means, because if you go to Minna, for example, you know, there is a special place where a Gambia will stay, and each Hajj operator will have their own place, and the beds are counted, you know, to meet the number of pilgrims. So if you go like that, where are you going to stay? You cannot come into my tent because you are a Gambian. If you occupy a bed, you are going to occupy someone's mattress. So it's difficult for those people. So that's why when you go to most of the camps, you'll see people camping outside, sleeping outside. And obviously it's not favorable with that weather condition. You're sleeping, there is no AC, you know, there is no fan. For us in the tents, we have AC, we have fans. But then if you sleep outside, that means, you know, there'll be a huge toll on you because there's no AC. So a lot of people do that. You know, I've seen a lot of people who do that. Like even some of the Gambians who are living in Saudi Arabia, they also want to do Hajj, but they will not go through the right channel. So they will also try and maneuver and come through other means to enter, you know, to join us there. So it happens a lot. And we had Egypt also the same thing. A lot of people come through the same way. And we also had that there are companies that will give, because Umrah is all year round. It's open all year round. So a lot of people get Umrah visas, do Umrah, and stay, like the example of this woman. And there are other also, because Saudi is a tourist destination as well. So you can get a tourist visa, go there, you know, if you know there's 2-3 months to Hajj, and stay and wait for the Hajj. But it's all due to saving cost. But most of the people who do this are poor people from poor African countries who cannot afford, but they still have the zeal and the strength, or they want to do to fulfill this pillar of Islam. So it's all for the love of the religion. But then sometimes it's dangerous.
Do you by any chance know what the Saudi authorities are doing about this thing?
Well, they crack down on these kind of things, to be honest, because I remember 2 days before Hajj start, I went to Jeddah, you know, Jeddah, the port city of Jeddah. I went there with a friend. And when we are going, there was no problem. But when we are coming in, there are checkpoints everywhere, police checkpoints, and you have to get your visa with you. If you get to a checkpoint, they will look at your name, everything, and put it into the computer to check whether you are legal or illegal, or whether you are there for the right reasons, and they'll check. And if you don't have the right requirements, they just get you out, and then you will be deported. The next minute, or you'll be detained. So definitely they try to crack down, but there are also smugglers. You know, everywhere you go, there are smugglers. I've heard about smugglers where you will come from another country, stay somewhere, and then smugglers will come and pick you and then divert, you know, avoid the checkpoints and get you into Makkah. But there's a huge control before Hajj. They've sealed everywhere. In fact, you cannot travel anywhere you want to travel. I've seen people hiding. They don't want to go out because police will always come around, even to the hotels, and start checking people. So you have to have your badge on you that you are a pilgrim, and then they'll see it. Because at one point myself, I was sitting without a badge, and there's this police lady who called me and said, "Where is your badge?" So I have to go into the room and bring my badge. So if I didn't have a badge at that point, probably it's going to arrest me, and then I might be deported or taken somewhere. But they did well. Then, however it happened, people will still.
But the other crackdown as well, which is important, is in Egypt. Egypt have gone for all of these travel agencies that were selling these visas, sending these people on a holiday visa instead of the Hajj visa. I think most of them closed, so they're going to be prosecuted and the like. But importantly, you mentioned heat wave, but we have to consider what happened in Senegal when the returning pilgrims at the Blaise Diagne International Airport, when they were tested, and they identified the respiratory ailment COVID. So we've got a different version, as it were, a slightly problematized story. Early on, everybody believed that it was just the heat waves. Then suddenly they're talking about, was it COVID-19? Certainly they had diagnosed people with a respiratory ailment. That was very interesting. Did you get that in Saudi?
In Saudi, we didn't hear about any COVID.
All right.
What I know is anytime you go to Saudi, most of the illness problems we face is sore throat, you know, common cold or fresh cold, we call it. coughing, So that's very common because it's overcrowded. It's crowded.
People,
it's
yes,
crowded.
of
So
course.
every people come from all over the world, and they can come with different kind of things. So, but that's common there. So, if you go into the mosque and the imam is praying, when it's quiet, you'll hear everybody is coughing. So all over. So you have to be fully masked. For me, even if I'm in bed sleeping, I put on a face mask. Like my first year, 2019, I realized that I wasn't using the mask a lot, and I was sick there. When I came here, the same thing, could be COVID, I don't know. But then this time, I make sure that I have mask throughout, and I didn't even a single cough, I didn't experience it until I came back. But then it's true. We heard about the Senegal case where they said COVID and we were tested. They tried it at the airport here as well. When we came, people were tired. 8 hours of flight sitting. So we don't have the patience. We came all the way to the airport, sleepless night in the plane, and we get here and they said, okay, queue here, and then we have medical personnel trying to test people. People were angry. Some pilgrims were talking on the, no, you can't do that sort of. But the thing is, the reason why most of the people are angry, they let diplomats go. Some people with diplomatic passport will come and just walk and go. And then for us without diplomatic passport, they want to test us here at the airport. So people are saying, who are they? If I can get COVID, why is it that the diplomat will not get COVID?
COVID, yeah.
But that's what happened. So, but at the end, it wasn't effective. Some people complied, some didn't, because for me, I was with a friend. We went and stood at the testing place. Then I realized that whenever they take your name and your thing, they'll take a swab, something in your nose, and they said, go to the people to test. When they do that, they will say, you can go. And they will not give you any receipt so that if you get to the gate, they will say without a receipt you cannot pass because you didn't do the test. So when I realized, I told my friend, I said, let's go. I said,
that is the Banjul International
Airport.
Airport.
The airport. I said, let's go. I said, they don't give a receipt to prove that you've tested or not. We just left.
So as a result, it is.
But people were not happy about it. But the thing is, if you get COVID, what do they do? No quarantine anymore. So what did they do?
It's a problem.
Exactly.
So what stood out for you in this Hajj? You've been there 4 times. So what really stood out for you?
Hajj is, every time you go for Hajj, it's a different experience. You can go 2, 3, 4 times. It's a different, every time you learn something new. Anytime you go there, you learn something new. So for me, it's about the cooperation of Gambians, the unity. Even though we have 13 Hajj operators, each was trying to satisfy their own people. But then I've seen Gambians coming together, helping each other. You go out, you see somebody, you realize it's a Gambian, you help the person. So there was so much cooperation, there was so much unity among Gambians. I've noticed that. I've also noticed that the Hajj Commission, were very good in their work. Because if in the hotel I'm staying and other people, they keep going around all the time, trying to check on the Gambian pilgrims to see how they are doing, and they talk to us, they sensitize us, they preach us. They've done that a lot this time. So it was good. And they come with people from the Ministry of Religious Affairs, Bakalifa Sanyang and his crew. Also, even the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Lang Yabo, the permanent secretary was with them. The Hajj Commission members. So they go everywhere, and we were seeing them a lot. Yes, so that was a good thing.
They're saying it's time. Unfortunately, I would want to explore the reason as to, you guys went to Saudi, like you've been there for a month, and Hajj is just 5 days. I really want to know why that is. But my producer is telling me it's time.
Oh, well, if it's time, it's time. It's true. I would have loved to tell you why we spent a month when the Hajj is 5 days.
On another day,
unless if he wants to add us, give us 1 minute to do that.
Keep it on the back burner next time.
Thank you very much. We will still be coming your way tomorrow for another interesting edition of this morning program. Bye-bye, Mr. Mboji.
Tata.
Alaji, thank you very much for coming along.